Beaumont began to see them. Not just hear them, but see her children. At first, it was just a glimpse. A shadow at the corner of her eye. A fleeting image in the reflection of a window. But soon, they appeared more frequently. She would find Jane standing in the hallway, her expression blank, her eyes dull and lifeless. Arna would be sitting at the kitchen table, her hands clasped in front of her as if waiting for something. And Grant... poor little Grant. He would be crouched in the corner of the living room, his small body shivering as if he were freezing. But every time Mrs. Beaumont tried to reach out to them, they would vanish, dissolving into the air like mist. She grew desperate, pleading with them to come back, to stay, but they were always just out of reach. The strain took its toll on the Beaumont family. Mr. Beaumont, unable to cope with the mounting terror, began to drink heavily, his once strong frame now slumped and defeated. Mrs. Beaumont, gaunt and hollow-eyed, became obsessed with the letters, convinced that they held the key to finding her children. She would spend hours poring over them, looking for clues, trying to make sense of the madness that had consumed their lives. And then, there was the night that the doorbell rang. It was late, past midnight, and the house was still. Mrs. Beaumont had just drifted off to sleep when the sound of the bell cut through the silence like a knife. She jolted awake, her heart pounding in her chest. She waited, thinking she must have imagined it, but then it rang again, louder this time, more insistent. She stumbled to the front door, her hands trembling as she reached for the handle. She paused for a moment, a cold dread seizing her. But the bell rang a third time, and she knew she had to answer. When she opened the door, she found nothing but the empty night. The street was deserted, the darkness thick and oppressive. But just as she was about to close the door, she noticed something on the doorstep. A small brown package, neatly wrapped with a string. With trembling hands, she picked it up and brought it inside. She sat down at the kitchen table, the package before her, her breath shallow and uneven. She knew she should wait for her husband, but something compelled her to open it. She reached for a pair of scissors and carefully cut the string. Inside was a small worn-out teddy bear, Jane's favorite toy, the one she had taken to the beach that day. And beneath it, folded neatly, was another letter.